This sequence is called drawing threads or drawing silk, and it's very useful for balancing energy in the body and for generating it to some extent, and it's also extremely useful for calming the mind. A lot of people find it helps them to begin feeling Qi as well, and that can be very useful when you're beginning Qigong. The idea of Qi, this sort of energy of the body, can be quite abstract. Once you actually begin to feel it, then you can use it much more effectively, and you know what you're working with. You can feel whether you're doing things properly. So this is quite a simple exercise to introduce you to it. So we begin as always by making sure we have a good posture, which means your feet are at shoulder's width. So if you take a line down from the hollows in front of the shoulders, the feet should be underneath those. And they're facing forwards, gripping slightly with your toes and with the knees unlocked. So your weight comes down just in front of the ankles. Tailbones tucked under slightly, just above your pubic bone that's drawn in slightly, crown of the head drawn up. If you want some more details on posture, then have a look at one of the other videos I've produced on the empty stance. But if you just remember those things to begin with, also keep your tongue resting against the roof of your mouth behind the teeth, so you're breathing in and out through the nose, and you're breathing down towards the lower abdomen always. Shoulders are dropped and arms slightly rounded. So if you just take a few moments just to take your attention inside, notice how you're breathing and settle your breath so you're feeling your abdomen expand slightly as you breathe in, and then contract again as you breathe out. It's very gentle breathing, no effort at all, and just working to your own rhythm. You'll probably find it slows down gradually as you work with it, but don't force at all. The rate can be whatever seems to suit you. And then as you get used to feeling that breathing, just get a sense of the energy from the lower abdomen beginning to lift the hands, and then allowing them to sink as you breathe out. So it's as though you have a ball of energy under the hands, and it's lifting them up fairly close to the body first of all, and then you're sinking that ball down, so you're sinking it gently through water. And the height gradually increases, so you're breathing out as the hands push this ball of Qi down. You're breathing in, and it lifts the hands up. So everything's fairly relaxed and dropped. Sinking as you breathe out, in and out through the nose, as I said before. And gradually allowing the hands to become higher. And you can see it's as though the hands are being pulled up and the rest of the arms, shoulders are being drawn with it. So the shoulders remain dropped. So it's a very soft movement. You can also think of it as leading with the backs of the wrists rather than the hands, and that'll give you the right action. And the opposite, when you come down again, it's as though the undersides of the wrists lead first of all. So as you're inhaling, you're gradually coming higher and higher, sinking down as you exhale. And then eventually you get to the stage where the hands are coming up level with the brow. There's a very important point between the brows called yin tang, and you come level with that point and then sink. And instead of sinking right the way down this time, you pause when your hands come in front of the middle of the chest and you roll them over so the palms are facing you. So you finish exhaling like that, and then you begin breathing in, and this time as though you're drawing threads apart between your fingertips and the thumb tips, and you come to just beyond shoulder width. So you're breathing in, and then there's a pause in the breathing here. You're not breathing in or out, but you gradually bring the hands towards each other, And then as you begin exhaling, you sink that ball down again in front of you. Just down to the low abdomen, this area we call the dantian. And then you're breathing in again, right the way up to the brow. Exhaling down to the centre of the chest. Roll the hands over, breathing in through the nose. Pause the breathing. Bring the hands towards each other, still with a pause, and then start exhaling. The whole thing's very gentle movement, and keep in mind curves. So the arms are slightly rounded, shoulders are dropped. And then just very gently, as though you're drawing threads or silk apart with the fingertips. And then placing the hands over the ball of Qi, sinking it down to the dantian. The general principle in Qigong that what you're doing with the hands in front of you, if you're making this sort of movement, reflects what's going on internally with your energy. So you're gradually drawing the focus up towards the head and then sinking it down again to the dantian, to the low abdomen. And you're connecting those two areas. So coming up to the brow, sinking down to the middle of the chest, inhaling as you draw threads apart, very gently, pausing the breathing, and then exhaling as you sink the Qi down to the low abdomen again. You can keep this up for as long as you like. But eventually you change the movement, and instead of coming down just to the mid-chest, you take the hands fully down, and then with the next movement you don't come up quite as far. So you just come up to about throat height, for instance, and then gradually decrease the height of the hands with each breath. I'm going at a relatively fast rate for the demonstration. If your breathing slows down and you're going much slower than this, that's great. But remember that people vary a lot, and if you're used to breathing through your mouth, if you tend to be a bit hyper generally, then it's likely your breathing will be more rapid to begin with. So go with what's already there and just let it slow down as it wants to. So eventually you've decreased and decreased, and then just rest the hands, one palm over the other, on the low abdomen. We're a few centimetres underneath the navel here. And this area is considered to be a storehouse of energy in the body. It's very closely associated with the kidney Qi. This in turn is used as a catalyst for all sorts of other processes. So if you've got a good store of kidney energy, then you've got a good basis for health generally. The immune system becomes stronger, and you turn food and air more effectively into usable energy. So this type of exercise in Qigong is very useful for building up energy gradually. It takes time, but it definitely has results. Because you're working on the breathing in a different way as well, you're not lifting the upper part of the chest, your focus is more breathing from here and lowering the diaphragm. Everything in the lung works much more efficiently, so you get more volume of air coming in, and then better oxygenation in the tissues, and with less effort. So every now and then when you're working, just notice what your shoulders are doing, make sure they're dropped. Crown of the head's drawn up, and that lets the tip of the nose settle down slightly. So when you've come back to this position, you can let your eyes close if you want to, and just focus your attention into this dantian area, this lower abdomen, and feel yourself quietened. And then gradually become aware of any sounds you have around you, the room about you, and anything else you notice. If by any chance you've broken off and you have to finish a session early, it's always useful to come back, just bring your energy and attention back to this area, even if it's just half a second, so you maintain what you've been building up in terms of stores of energy, and it'll set you in good stead later on. Look out for more videos, and I wish you well with this. Thank you.